What's up guys, Roche here doing another deck profile. This is an updated version of Aqua Force after My Glorious Justice just came out. So I just wanted to give everyone a base idea of what I'm playing and go over some of the new updates. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Starting with the starter, didn't change, still playing Cadet Eric. There's a new one in the set, but Cadet Eric is still the way to go. To the trigger lineup, we stayed pretty standard. 4 heal, 4 PGs, and then for this build we're playing 8 front. I had tested crits in older versions of the deck, but because of Glory Maelstrom, I feel like the fronts are more important for hitting your magic numbers. I'll go a little bit more of that later when I go over what some of the ideas of this deck are. So I definitely like the front triggers. Actually, sometimes I was actually contemplating playing 12 front and dropping the perfect guard draws, but for right now I'm still playing the draws. You still kind of need to survive, but you are trying to win on your first or second grade 3 ride, so still something to test, but for this build, I'm going to go with the 844. On to the grade 1s. We play for Storm Rider Nicholas. He's your main ride. When he's placed to Vanguard or Rearguard, you check the top 7, for a Algos, the grade 2, and add it to your hand, and then he gains plus 300 or 3k. So really good in the Vanguard, gets your grade 2 ride, your ideal grade 2 ride, and just really good in the Rearguard because he's always an 11k. So then we are playing 3 new card, 3 Wheel Assault. He's your secondary ride. When he's ridden on top of, you counterblast 1, draw a card, and then call something out of your hand. So he has to get a free card for a counterblast and also play a grade 2 that you're probably going to play that turn anyway. His other effect comes up once in a while. It's when at the end of attacks, you can swap 2 of your rear guards. This comes up, it gets you an extra attack if you have multiple attackers in hand and you just want to call one behind, you get up with a grade 2 behind a grade 2 and then something on your Excel circle, and you'll go attack with the Excel circle and then swap it with the other grade 2 or grade 3 that's behind. So it gets you an extra attack that turn that way. So it comes up once in a while. I'm playing 3 Teo. I like Teo a lot. It gives you on-hit pressure on your rearguard columns. It lets you, increase another... If the attack it boosts or its attack hits, you increase another unit by 8k. So it really helps you, hit, again, magic numbers, which become really important on your glory turn. And also just gives your opponent another reason, not to let a rearguard column hit, which just lets them waste more cards in their hand. So I really like this card at 3. And over playing multiple copies of the last grade 1 that I'm playing. The last grade 1 I play is 2 Calm Assault. This card's really good. If it's the 3rd or 4th battle that turn, you Soul Blast 1 on the attack, and that unit gains 5k. So it lets you, again, hit good magic numbers and lets you push pressure in columns and make things hit. The only reason I don't like it as much as Teo is because this deck is actually pretty Soul Blast dependent, and the only real way to soul charge is with the grade 2 Coral Assault. So this card just does just enough as seeing it as a one of in the late game, but you really don't want to see too many copies of it, and Teo just is free whenever it just hits. So I really like the split of 3-2. I know I've seen a lot of people play 4 of this and no Teo, but currently I like the split of playing both. Okay, next we're going to move on to the grade 2s. I think the grade 2s for just about every Aqua Force deck is pretty standard right now. There are 3 really good grade 2s that all just let you do what the deck is supposed to do. So to start, this is your best ride. It is Algos. It lets you, again, combo off. It lets you stand units for cost of Counterblast, Soul Blast. So it lets you just get another attack on your grade 2 turn, which theoretically could be against your opponent's 1 when you win the die roll. So it really, I think I usually pump out 4 to 5 attacks on my grade 2 turn. So this card really does help, and it's the one you want to see, so that's why you play the 4 Nicholas to get to this as fast as possible. Next is your other main restander, which is Tidal Assault. Lets it restand itself, and if it's not the first battle of that turn, it moves minus 5k. There are times where you actually, when you're on your glory, that you'll use Algos' effect to restand it as the first attack, and then use this later, because you lose 5k, but you're gaining 10k off of glory, so like the attack still pumps through, so it's gonna attack twice at that number. So, and last but not least, another new card is Coral Assault. If it's the 4th attack or more that turn, this card gains 15k. So by itself, it goes up to 24, which is just an insane number. And then on your glory turn, it goes up to 34, which is the magic number for this deck because of Glory's effect. And then its secondary effect comes up once in a while. Like I said, it's the only way you have to soul charge in this deck, which is at the end of his attack, you can put him into soul and draw a card. So what I find myself a lot of time doing is like when I have my ideal grade 2 turn is like you're on Algos, you have a Tidal Assault, and you have him up. You get your 4 attacks in, and then you soul charge this to have soul for either a Calm Assault next turn or for another Tidal Assault play. And it gets you a free draw, and the draws help you just replenish your board the next turn. So you really don't mind losing him because you usually can draw more of him. So that's it for the grade 2s. Last but not least, we'll go into the grade 3s. Just as far as beaters go, 2 Riptide Dragon. Has to be the 4th attack of that turn, or can't attack. But it does gain 2k one attack, so it hits 32 by itself. 32 is a very good number against both Excel and Protect. So it lets you hit really good numbers against those matchups, even if you don't have the second ride for Glory. But if you're on the second ride for Glory, it hits for 42, which is an insane number. It has to be perfect guarded. So that's why I really like it as a 2 of. He's just your big attacker. Really like him. Your secondary ride, or sometimes your first ride, I play 3 regular Maelstrom. This card isn't great, but you need a Maelstrom in Soul for Glory's second part of his effect. So you just need to see 7 to 8 copies of Maelstrom in your deck. So that way, if you have to ride this first and you can ride a Glory over it, it does its job. And even on its first turn, it does give you good pressure because the extra 3k to your front row that turn, and plus the ability to restand, it still does its job, and it's just a Maelstrom. And finally, the heart and soul of the deck, we play 4 Glory Maelstrom. For people who don't know and haven't read the set yet, it's Counterblast 1. Your opponent can only guard from 1 card in their hand for each of your attacks that turn, and they can't intercept. And then if you have any Maelstrom in Soul, your entire front row gains 10 thou. So I talked about earlier about magic numbers with this deck. If you're playing against, the big magic number for any deck you're playing against is 34. 34 is a number that your opponent cannot guard with 1 card, so it has to be a perfect guard. So the idea is if you can get 2 or 3 of your attacks up to 34 that turn, without multiple perfect guards, they're probably taking 3 to 4 attacks directly to their face. So it's like it's gonna push damage and it's gonna make a lot of problems for them. The non-intercept comes up real big against like the Bermuda matchup because then they can't use their free 10k and 20k intercepts, which is how you would usually lose a lot of your jump block attacks. So that is really it. The deck is pretty standard. I know a lot of people are playing very similar things. The grade 1 lineup varies based on the player. Again, I think I can see the trigger lineup changing based on the momentum of the game. I think front triggers are really strong, and there could be a time where not playing draw triggers to play the extra fronts or even crits just for a little bit more pressure could be a thing. The only other thing I was debating is playing the 4th regular Maelstrom over one of the Riptides just to get the extra chance of making sure you have a Maelstrom in Soul, so your glory turn is a glory turn. But that's really it. I've been testing the deck a lot, and I'm going to do a lot going forward. I really like the deck. It's a lot of fun. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you have any ideas for your builds or what you think I can change, feel free to give us a message. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow. And if the day ends in Y, we're gaming.